People think a waiting list means that you've made it, that your product is so good that people will wait for you, that you are worth something. At some point, we had almost 1,000 people waiting for our sweaters. But instead of feeling successful, I felt I owed 1,000 people something I wasn't sure I could deliver. At some point, we made a decision that seemed smart. As we couldn't fulfill every order immediately, we created a waiting list. And instead of turning people away, we would say, okay, we will add you to the waiting list, and when your turn comes, we will reach out. At that point, it felt like the right thing to do. It was fair, organized, honest, and the list gave us something that we needed at the time, and that gave us the situation that we were in control. 10 people waiting, fine, we know their names, we know what they ordered, it's okay. 50 people, still manageable. We can manage every name on a list. 100 people, we started calling everyone individually, like name by name and status by status, but it still was okay. But at some point, I realized that there was close to 1,000 people on the list, and 1,000 people who had given us their names, their models, their sizes, their colors, and we were managing them by hand in a notebook without any system, without a software, without any reliable way to tell them when their order will be fulfilled, and who, by the way, didn't pay until we were ready for shipment. And we hadn't built a waiting list, we had built a promise we didn't know how to keep. I don't think people understood what was happening on our end, because from the outside, a brand with a waiting list seems glamorous and successful. But in the inside, here's what one day of my life actually looked like. I would start by going through the previous day's payments, figuring out who we had promised delivery to, making a list for the day. Then I would check the finished items one by one, check the seams, check the sizing, check the labels, if everything is correct. Then I would sit at my computer and enter all the addresses of our clients who were expecting delivery at the day, one by one, like number by number, only manually. And I would double check who would get how many pieces, print the labels, stick them on boxes, group the boxes by the courier routes. Then I would pack everything into bags for a courier, wait for a courier, and sometimes pull cash from the ATM machine if the courier didn't take cards. This was every day, and after all of that, at night, I would sit with the finished items, with our sweaters that we produced, which came back with some problems like uneven necklines or sleeves that didn't match or labels sewn in the wrong place. And I would fix them all by hand, like myself, because it would take us weeks to send them back to the production, and we already had hundreds of people waiting for our sweaters. We tracked everything by hand: who ordered how many pieces, what color, what size, what model, who confirmed, who was out of town, who needed one more call from our side. And our database base was a notebook, which was handwritten, and it was a handwritten list across several pages. It was like Julia waiting, Anna was waiting, Sophia canceled 2 sweaters, Daria went abroad and needs to call back when she arrives. At some point, it seemed like a list stopped being a list. It became a second business running inside our own business. And that second business didn't have a structure, logic, or the end. Because a waiting list creates a sense of control. But yes, because you can see the names and the models and number of orders waiting. But what you can see is that behind every name on the list, there is a person who is running out of patience. And you never know which one will be about to break. One evening, I received another angry message from the client. I don't remember exactly what it said, but I remember it was harsh and it felt so unfair because we had been trying so hard for so long and this person had no idea. I remember that I texted Alexei. I got a message from the client 174 and it's awful and I'm in tears. I don't know what to do. I cannot do anything about it. And he replied, tears are unnecessary. Just do this and call me in the morning and we'll talk. And it was it. No, that you are doing great. No, it's okay. Nothing like this. Just don't cry and we will talk in the morning. And I thought that I remember thinking that probably he was right because tears were not about to help the customer 174 and they were not about to shorten the queue and fix the system that we didn't have. But I also remember that I couldn't stop crying because it wasn't about this very message, it was about all of them. Not all the messages, or not all the difficult messages, were emotional, and some of them were worse than that because they were precise. One customer, and a woman named Irina, had ordered some sweaters and she had been waiting past the due date. We didn't reach out first, so she wrote to us and we didn't respond. And at some point, she wrote us back, and this email said the following: that you are not behaving correctly for a business. I placed an order and you confirmed it. When the deadline passed, I was the one who reached out, not you. And instead of a real answer, I received a standard response. It seems like you have a queue of people, the rest of us get templates. And then she added the following: for a business, especially a new one, the foundation should be honoring your agreements and protecting your reputation. Information travels fast. And I remember I would write Alexei, or Alexei was writing to me, like, how do we respond? And I was like, I don't know, like, sincerely, as things are. But in reality, the honest answer would be that we know we are late and we are trying so hard, but we do our best, but our best is not fast enough. And actually, in reality, we don't know when the sweaters will be ready. But that is something that you cannot put into an email, right? There is one more story from the time that I've never forgotten. A girl reached out very persistently, saying she needed the sweater urgently, a gift for her birthday gift for her friend, and she begged us to move her order forward. We felt very bad, but we did this and we produced it in a few days. And then we noticed something very strange. Under the posts, under the Instagram comments of other customers complaining about their order delays, she was leaving comments. Like, mine was ready in 5 days. We knew that we actually did it for her, but it was meant like a birthday present for her friend. So she wasn't lying, we did this for her. But she was using it to publicly humiliate us in front of other customers who had been waiting honestly for several months. And it felt so bad. So at that moment, I realized something that I hadn't seen before, that the waiting list stopped being fair like a long time ago. And we had broken it ourselves every time we made an exception and every time we agreed to forward the order to one person and to silently say wait longer to another person. So a waiting list seems to be a system, but it isn't one. At some point, I wrote Alexei that I cannot handle it anymore, that I just can't. And he replied, let me try to help you. What are the problems that we are facing, the most obvious ones? I wrote back a list of problems: returns, quality issues, inconsistent knitters, people reselling our pieces on different websites, and no customer support, no systems, no software. It seemed that a list of problems got bigger than the waiting list itself. And that was the moment that I finally understood what was happening, that we had created something people really wanted, but we had no infrastructure to hold it, like, at all. A waiting list feels like a proof that you've made it. But what it actually proves is that demand arrives before then you are actually ready for it. And the longer the list grows, the more you're borrowing against trust that you have no right to spend yet. We thought that the waiting list was ours to manage, but in reality, it was managing us. And the next question, which we didn't know how to answer, was how to build a system when everything is already on fire. And that would be our next episode. Thank you for watching. It was Katya. Don't forget to be kinder to yourselves, and bye. I don't know, guys, if you managed to see the flowers which represent me crying over my waiting list. Just joking, but there is some point.